I was born in America, but I spent 20 years building a successful business in Asia. When I finally decided to return to New York, I stopped in San Francisco to visit an old friend named Harry Watson. We had exchanged letters for years, but recently his messages had stopped coming. Harry had never worked a day in his life, living off money his father gave him. He spent his time reading strange books about philosophy and superstition, believing that luck and magic could change a person's fate. As soon as I arrived, I sent word to his house. Within an hour, a servant brought his reply. Harry invited me to come immediately to the tower where he lived, part of his late father's house. He wrote that the door would be unlocked and the servants sent to bed. I should simply walk up the stairs where he would be waiting. That evening, I took a taxi through the stormy winter weather. The house was an ugly brick building with a tower at one end. Rain soaked me as I rushed to the door. Inside, a dim lamp barely lit the stairway. I climbed slowly, feeling my way along the wall until I reached another door at the top. When I entered, Harry came forward and took my hand. He wore a long silk coat and soft slippers, but what shocked me was his appearance. My handsome friend had become a pale, white-haired man who looked much older than his 50 years. His eyes shone strangely in the shadowy room. We sat down with wine and cigars, but our conversation felt awkward. Meeting old friends after many years can bring unexpected sadness. Harry seemed to sense my thoughts. "I'm not as I was," he said quietly. "I'm a dead man. I will die very soon." Before I could respond, we heard a sound, tap, tap, tap. It was soft and deliberate, like someone sending a secret message. I stood up to leave, but Harry begged me to stay. He walked to a small window and opened it. Outside, there was nothing but rain and the glow of a street lamp. "Please don't leave me," he said. "I must tell you a story." I sat back down, and Harry began. He hadn't moved into this house until his father died 10 years ago. Before that, he lived in a run-down apartment building on Nob Hill, a once fashionable area of San Francisco. The walls were paper-thin, but the rent was cheap and he could read his books in peace. One cold March morning, he saw a young woman leaving the building. She wore a black coat and a white straw hat. When he saw her face, something changed inside him. She was strangely beautiful in a way he had never experienced. He lifted his hat and bowed, and she looked at him with bright blue eyes, but didn't speak. Harry had never been in love before. Books had been his whole life, but now this girl filled his thoughts. He waited by his window for hours, hoping to see her again. Eventually, he learned from his landlady that she was her niece, a poor servant who lived at the top of the building. Her room was next to his, separated only by a thin wall. At night, he would press his hand against that wall, wondering if she was sleeping just inches away on the other side. Harry knew he could never marry a poor, uneducated servant. His father would have cut off his support, so he tried to forget her and focus on his studies. But one sleepless night, thinking of her so close yet unreachable, he tapped gently on the wall 3 times. Tap, tap, tap. He felt foolish immediately, like a lovesick boy. He returned to his books, reading a strange text about philosophy and superstition. The author wrote about fatal patterns that repeat 3 times, leading to death. Then he heard it. From beyond the wall came an answer, tap, tap, tap. The girl was responding to his signal. His heart raced, but he didn't tap back. He listened for hours, but heard nothing more. Days passed, and he never saw her again. He tried to forget the whole incident. Weeks later, he woke in the middle of the night to that same gentle tapping on the wall. Tap, tap, tap. This time, still hurt that she hadn't responded to his earlier signals, he decided not to answer. He lay there listening until he finally fell asleep. The next morning, he met the landlady outside his door. She told him the terrible news. Her niece had been sick for a week. The night before, as she lay dying, she had asked for her bed to be moved against the wall next to Harry's room. She touched the wall and smiled, then died a few hours later. Harry's voice broke as he finished. "I sent my thoughts to her through that wall," he whispered. She answered, but I didn't respond when she needed me most. He told me that after her death, he learned his own father had died. He left that apartment and moved into this tower where he had been waiting for 10 years. Philosophy tells us that signs repeat 3 times, he said. I heard the tapping twice before. Tonight, you heard it too. That makes 3 times. The fatal pattern is complete. I understood then why Harry looked like death itself. I took his hand, unable to find words that could ease his pain. He smiled sadly and pressed my fingers. I said goodnight and left. The next morning, a servant brought me the news I had been dreading. Harry Watson had died during the night, just as he had predicted. The girl he loved had finally called him home through the wall that had separated them for so long.